Here we go. Going to get a race car going. Let's look at this example. So we've got a race car and a couple of expectations. It's going to be 8 inches long, so the length has to be 8 inches. Your height can vary, but it's got to be shorter than 3 inches. So this little race car is 2 inches. We've got our wheels. I got a diameter of 1.5, smaller wheel for that, and then a bigger wheel on the back, 1 3/4. Those are them right there. You can choose to stagger, to have too small, too big, whatever you want to do, but those are the two sizes of wheels we're going to use. Alignment needs to be correct, so you can see there's several things that I aligned in here. Our wheels need to align up, so when I drill a hole on this, and the center point needs to be on it. So I've got the center of this thing, let's take it apart, lined up for the wheel wells, right? Those wheel wells line up, and then I've got a little gap to make sure that wheel's going to fit in there for that smaller one, right? It's got to have an 1/8 inch gap for the wheel wells. We got written right there as well. And so, yeah, we get those lined up. And then these are going to be our assembly pieces. So these are two different dowel hole sizes here too. I need to put a label, I'll put that on there. But we should have a 1/4 inch for assembly. And then we'll have 9/32 for axle. Okay, so those are the size drill bits that we use for those. So the 1/4 inch, these ones we want to fit tightly and snug so they don't move. That's for alignment, to make sure that it's going to stay in place. And then we're going to use a 9/32 because when we put it down there, we want it to spin freely. We want to be able to roll. Okay, so we're going to glue this thing together, and those ones are for alignment. So again, this hole right there needs to line up with that hole right there. They got to be perfect, right? So otherwise this thing isn't going to go together. We make sure we put 2 of them in there so it's not going to wiggle around, and then we can put it on and lock it into position. Can't find it, there it is. So then our front and our back wheels line up, and then our center points line up on this thing. Okay, so that's an overview of expectations on that. I think I hit it all. Let's go ahead and draw out a truck. So I'm going to do a different one. Before you get going, I would sketch like what your views are going to look like, right? This is my center one because I'm going to have like a little truck bed in there. That's why I cut out that slot. And then these are going to be on the outside, all right? So we got 8 inches long, right? We know that for sure, So I'm going to start out here on the edge because I don't know how much room I got. So I'm going up to 12. That's going to be about perfect. And then I got my triangle. I'm going to make mine, maybe should have dropped down a little bit lower. I run out of space with my little sketches there. So if I did 3, it would be this tall. Let's see if I can, and I'll leave a small gap so I can get I leave a 1/4 inch gap. And then 3 from there would be right about there. I'm going to hit my view, but that's fine. So I'm going 3 inches tall on that. So the first thing I would do is draw the box that your race car needs to fit inside of. Okay, so mine is 8 inches long, and then it's 3 inches tall for each one of those, right? I'm going to just go ahead and draw like a little guideline on here. Actually, we should measure it so that I make sure I do the same thing here. That's this for the front of my truck here. So let's get, I'm going to go up about 1.5 inches. I'll make sure and go up 1.5 inches on this one as well. So then here's another little guideline cross for that. That's for like the top of my truck bed, and then also the front of the car or the truck. And then I did grab my French curve, so you can throw this on here to help you kind of draw curves if you're not too confident with those. So I'm going to get a curve out there. We'll just try and make them similar. So there's the front edge of that truck, and then if I wanted to round out like the front a little bit there too. Nah, I don't think I want to do that. Maybe I'll just sketch this one, just a slight little round on it. Something like that. And then we'll connect those with the line. Okay. We're going to be using, I forgot to mention, after we draw this whole thing up, we're going to cut this out with a scissors, and then we're just going to use that as our stencil. We'll nail it on, so we'll put nails in those two, and then we'll take that picture and we'll just trace it around the outside of it, because we're going to need two of these, right? One for each side. We're going to drill the holes differently because we want them on the inside, and then we only need one of those. So, and the back of this truck bed, let's go like that, a little bit like that. Okay, this one's going to be my inside piece, so I'm gonna drop that truck bed down just a little ways. I'm going to go too low because of the, I don't want to show on the wheel well. And we'll go from like right there. It might be a little fragile if I went too far. Just kind of wondering where depth-wise, see how that looks. Go. I want to see, this is going to start coming up here. So yeah, that looks like it'll be all right. Okay, so let's go and sketch that in there. And then we can get this one in here. All right, and we'll go from across there. Okay, so that wheel is probably going to show in there a little bit, but I'm just going to go with it. And then we can, I don't know, my truck's going to be like that. Now I'm just going to kind of pick a random angle right here. I'll just do a little, yeah, I don't like that. We're going to go a little bigger. But I can get the other one to line up for some of those start and end points, right? So whatever this is right there, those need to line up. That's where that arc started. And right there. So I had like an arc that went like that. And then we came straight down to that one. And then we'll take that across. So we got to try and align these things so that they're looking similar. And we'll be able to clean them up when after we glue and sand and stuff like that. So we can even just do those little rounds later too, right? So let's get that lined up there. Just a little round here. Then let's see here. We can add like bumpers and like headlights and stuff like that afterwards. We can add little pieces, we'll glue them on, but at this point we're just going for the main structure of this thing. So not too shabby so far. Let's see, this one. So let's take a look at those wheels. That's kind of one of the important parts that we get things lined up. So placement wise, I'm thinking I want my wheel to be right about there, center wise. Right? So I'm going to put a little guideline there. Then we gotta drill that hole and put it on there. So this thing is to scale. So we can I'm going to go for these bigger tires, and then that's going to be my front tire right there. And so we want to go up a little ways. And I would say, let's just measure that and see what it is. It's up about a 1/4 inch, right? So a 1/4 inch from the bottom to the center of that dowel there. So let's put it right about there. Right? Let's go right about there. So that's the center, and we're going to be going 9/32 for the axle on those ones. We're going to want 2 for, well, let's figure out where that back wheel is going to go. Let's see how it fits on here. Yeah, I'm going to cut into that a little bit, but I'm just going to call it good. So this back one, let's put it right about there. Looks fine. So we'll get a nice guideline right there. And we'll go up about a 1/4 inch. And that's where we're going to throw that guy. So go up about a 1/4 inch. I'm going to go ahead and draw these on here with my compass. And I'll give you both of them. We got to find what the middle of that is going to be of this, right? And if this one is 1 3/4, okay, 1 3/4 inch, I got to take half of that. So half of 1 is a half. Half of 3/4 is 3/8. So I'm going to add those two together. Then we'll get 4/8 here. So we got equals 7/8. So that's what I'm going to set my compass for. set my compass for 7/8. Down a little bit here. Okay, and then I can double check that that looks like it's going to be hitting the center and the outside of that circle. Looks like we're pretty good. Let's double check. I'm going to move this up a little bit. Just double check there. 7/8 are going to go a little bigger. There we go. So now when I use this thing, let's go and draw that on there. Gotta get it right on that point. We're going to drag it around. I like to move the paper or the board when I do this typically, but yeah, I don't have that option right now. Keeping it tight on there. I like to drag it. There's my tough looking wheel. Let's see if that fits. So I drew it a little big. Let's shrink that a little bit. This is just for estimate anyhow, so it's got to be perfect, but we need a good idea of what's going on here. So there's our wheel. Okay, one more. We're overlapping a little bit, but actually we're just about right. So it looks like I'm gonna have a decent amount of clearance on my wheels. And I knew this one was gonna be a little too high. We'll have a little bit of show. The wheel will show on the inside. Oh well. So these, I need a wheel well on my bottom one after I get this on here. Okay. Now I need a wheel well. I'm just going to kind of sketch it on here. So this has got to get around this. And I'm going to leave, I'm estimating like what, about 1/8 of an inch. So it doesn't have to be perfect. If you wanted to be more perfect, you could get a compass on it as well. But we're going to be cutting this out on a bandsaw. So even if you sketch it perfect, you're going to have to cut it perfect too. So I'm actually going to be cutting this one out. And I'm going to need 2 of these ones. And then we'll go something like this. And draw that around. Just sketch it up. Okay. So I think I'm pretty wrapped up. This one's again going to be solid right here. So this is a solid line. The wheel is just there for, oh, I forgot one thing. We need our 2 alignment pegs to drill out. So we're talking about these 2 that are going to help us assemble. And so I'm going to do 3/8 from the bottom. It's key that they're like the same. And so on this one, I'm going 3/8. And you could put some labels on here too, if you wanted, but I don't really need to. So let's go 3/8 up. And I'm gonna go right here and go up 3/8 here, like that, and 3/8 there. And then let's put the other peg right about here. And then I don't need to measure again. I'm just gonna make sure that we're straight across from each other. So there's the center of our alignment pegs that we're going to be. So I'm going to say alignment pegs. We need those pegs. All right. I did the math for the 1 3/4, but if you had the smaller wheel and you needed to use that compass, we'd have to set it for something different. So let's do 1 1/2. Half of that is a half, plus half of a half is a quarter. So we're looking at 3/4 of an inch to get to the center of that one. Let's see, race car title, race car and Duffy. That one's mine. I think we're good to go. I could make this thing now. It's gonna be a beast truck.